Hi, okay, I'm Mackenzie and I'm going to show you my model. So first, I want to apologize because I'm not very crafty, but I really tried with this. Okay, but I did have some technical difficulties trying to attach this lovely hyoid bone that we have here. So I'm going to explain these first, and then I'm going to remove that so we can see the parts that are underneath it. Okay, so we have the hyoid bone, which is this U-shaped, horseshoe-shaped bone that's kind of just floating. It's not attached to other bones, and it can be elevated or depressed to lift or push down the larynx. And it's not a bone of the larynx, but it forms a union between the tongue and the laryngeal structure. Okay, so that's our blue here. Ignore the straws, sorry. And then the red here is one of our muscles. It's the thyrohyoid. It connects from the thyroid to the hyoid bone, and it can be a depressor or an elevator. It just depends on what the other muscles are doing. So if it depresses, it's going to pull down the hyoid bone, and if it is an elevator, then it's going to pull up the larynx. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and take that off. Gosh, I'm struggling. Okay, so it did not want to stay. Okay. Oh, sorry. Okay. So underneath here, let's see, we can start. This is our trachea, and we have our cartilage rings here. So that's not really as important because it's just kind of the base for the larynx that is sitting on here. And so in the dark green underneath here, we have the cricoid cartilage, and it's thinner in the front and thicker in the back, but it's a complete ring around, and it's sitting right on top of the trachea, and it's the most inferior structure of the laryngeal cartilages. It's going to articulate with the thyroid cartilage at the cricothyroid joint, and it's going to allow the rocking movement, this top part here, forwards and backwards on the joint, and it helps move the thyroid cartilage, this top part. So that's the dark green, and then we have our yellow, which is our thyroid cartilage. It's shell-shaped, so it's open posteriorly. It's the largest cartilage in the larynx, and the vocal folds attach inside of it. It has these cornu or horns, which you can kind of see here, and it articulates with the hyoid bone that we removed, but it helps raise and lower. Okay, so, the muscle here. So this is the cricothyroid, and it is our main glottal tensor. It's a light green here, and if you can see, it's kind of like differentiated into two different parts. The two parts, we have the pars recta, which is the more flat and straight, and then the pars oblique, which is the more crisscross kind of style on the side here. And these both work to tense the vocal folds, and the point of them are, well, okay, so the muscles pull and rock the thyroid down and forward on the joint, so moving this part like down, and the whole point of that is to decrease the distance between the anterior cricoid and the anterior thyroid. So, okay, let's see, what else? So if the two parts were like individually contracted, the pars recta would rock the thyroid forward, and the pars oblique would rock the thyroid down, so the thyroid part down. So they're important muscles. And then if we move on to the back, we have more muscles, and we have the transverse. Oh wait, I should probably talk about this main big structure here. Okay, we have our big epiglottis, and the epiglottis is this leaf-like cartilage. It's going to attach to the tongue and the thyroid cartilage, and it's a protective structure because this flap is going to flap over like that to protect the larynx and the airway during swallowing, so no food particles can get in there. And then we have our arytenoid. Oh gosh, I'm saying that wrong. Arytenoids. Okay, anyways, they're paired. We have 2 of them, and these are going to abduct and adduct. So they're gonna open and close the vocal folds. So we have our vocal folds in there, and we have the corniculate structures. So that's the little top part of our triangles here. And let's see, it helps with a wide range of motion, and each of our little triangles here, they have a vocal process and a muscular process, and the vocal is going to be the one on the inside, like closest to the vocal folds, and these close and open. So when they close, it's going to bring the vocal folds together and open, and that's going to help with phonation. Okay, let's see what else. More muscles. Oh, we have our transverse arytenoids, which are adductors. So it's going to bring the folds together, and that is represented here with this pink stuff right here. It's going to span posteriorly on both arytenoids on the lateral surfaces, and it's going to pull our two orange triangles together, and it's going to support the closing of the folds and going to help with medial compression, which is how tightly the folds are adducted. Similarly, the blue represented here is going to be the oblique arytenoid, which is also an adductor, so bringing the folds together, and it has very similar functions to the one we just talked about, and it also is going to pull them together and help with medial compression. It's X-shaped, and it's continuous with the aryoepiglottic muscle, which I did not picture here, but it would just go right on up to the epiglottis here. And yeah, I know that there are more muscles and structures, but I think that I touched on a lot of good ones, and I hope this is okay.